Hello and good evening. Doc Severson here for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA newsletter market update for Thursday, the 25th of July. We'll start out with a daily chart of Bitcoin, and yesterday I went into great detail about why this could be a higher low, and we would know that if this reaches up here and creates a higher high, and that would be a change in polarity to a reversal back up to the uptrend. Okay, so that's kind of the notion right now. Again, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that will happen or whether we're going to drop down to the next high volume node down here at 8,000 again. That is definitely a possibility. It's not going to worry me. But what I did get yesterday during a live session that we did was a question like, hey, is this still in a bear market? And that's a fair question. That is somewhat being posed by a lot of people that are out there trying to get attention like, hey, look over here. I think we're in the bear market. And everybody thunders over there and says, well, why? Why would you say that? And it's probably a good way of getting attention. And there's always a point to look at the other side of things and make sure that you're not getting into groupthink or drinking the Kool-Aid. But let me show you something here that, to me, makes all the difference. Okay, so the issue on the table is this the beginning of a bear market? And I say, no, this is just consolidation price behavior. Let me show you the difference, okay? So yeah, we did have a big parabolic move that's up here, went exponential and went to an infinite slope for a very short period of time and then started getting sideways, right? So how is this different from what we went through a year and a half ago? Well, there's a big, big difference. Okay, so first of all, notice what happened when we did get this parabolic move, which is very similar in size and shape. Notice the volatility that kicked in after that. Wham! Like literally gave up half of its value right there. Boom! And then bounced back up again, and then wham! And there's a lot of difference between what's going on now versus what was happening back then. This was some serious selling, and notice the volume spikes. Notice the big volume spikes as we sold into that, and we dropped to about a third of its former value. So to me, there's a big difference in the character in terms of what's happening versus these very quiet, sort of polite little, yeah, okay, so they're coming down. We got some big red candles are showing up. But we're not seeing the massive volume on the sell-offs like we did back in the January, February timeframe of 2018. So when I talk about the character of the price action, that's what I'm talking about. So no, it's not in some indicator and it's not based somewhere, like it's not going to be some indicator that you pull in and says, okay, where's the character indicator on here? It's not there. This is more just you reading the price action and saying, when it does sell down, what happens with the volume? Is the volume spiking on the way down, and is it really dropping like a stone? No, it's really not. This is more of just a very gentle consolidation happening at the weekly chart. This is really what this is. So that, to me, tells me that we're still in a primary bull, right? Primary uptrend with higher highs and higher lows on the weekly chart. And this is just a very normal condition from exhaustion. Again, so we're just trying to look at this without being too biased, without trying to talk my book, without trying to justify what I want to happen. Because I quite honestly do want this to go higher at this point. But in light of that, I don't mind if it goes lower in the short term. Now, why would I say something like that? Why would I just contradict myself and say something completely different versus what I'm saying now? Keep in mind, again, to get the price to reverse, what you've got to do is you've got to get somebody feeling some pain. This is how trends get started. Trends get started because somebody's getting spanked and somebody's feeling pain. When the market started to lift off here, just below 10,000, and as we got to 10,000, it blew through 10,000. Everybody was saying, well, it's never going to get through there. Just like they said, it's never going to get through 6,500. And people were feeling pain. And this is how moves get started like that. When too many people just assume the same thing and they all get complacent, well, that'll never happen. And then it does. And then they don't know what to do. And the only thing that they can do is panic and sell the position. Or if they're short, panic and buy back. And that's where you get the big moves from. So you have to look at this and you say, how is this thing going to go from a very mild consolidation? It's still a daily downtrend. There's no doubt of that, but it's just very mild. How are we going to change this into a panic-driven uptrend again? Okay. So what we've got to have is, a lot of times it starts off with a piece of negative news. Piece of negative news that drives the price down and gets the shorts energized, gets all the shorts to jump on board, really gets that short interest that we look at from time to time, which is not all that high right now, but we want it to be spiking and just everybody excited, right? That, hey, here we go, 7,000 or 6,000 is next in the sights. And then we have to also see the bulls say, that's perfect. I wanted to see just a quick shot down here below 9,000 to double bottom and undercut that, and then I'm going to step in board here. And this is the way institutions think. Institutions are infinitely patient and will set up their value points and say, I'm not going to go in until it goes down to this point, because at that point I'm going all in, and that's the point where we're going to get, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be an institution that gets in too early. You don't want to be saying, well, I'm going to buy below 10,000. And then next thing you know, it's like, well, that didn't look to be too good, right? I got in a little too early on that. You want to be the patient guy that gets in perhaps on an undercut of 9,000 and then all of a sudden, boom. You want to be there for that. You don't want to be sitting through all of this garbage. So point number one, this to me looks like weekly consolidation looks just fine. I'm totally okay with it. Point number two, I don't care if this ends up being the higher low or if we actually print a lower low. That doesn't bother me because, again, you've got to get too many people on one side of the ledger. In this case, we got to get everybody convinced that this thing will never go higher again. And then we've got to squeeze them out. We've got to bend them over backwards. That is the way that we're going to get that big move. Now, typically also, we will get this move when we get a larger time frame, in this case, the weekly chart, when it has enough energy. Now, I don't know what is going to be enough. Sometimes I've seen these things take off with 40. Sometimes I've seen these things wait until they get back up to 61, or at least above 55, which is what this marker that goes from light green into dark green is. So a lot of times we need a little bit more consolidation, a little bit more apathy to be in the market to get people to act in that manner. Okay, looking at the rest of the market, we're really not seeing much of anything at all. Pretty much the same thing that I talked about yesterday. Yeah, there's some potential for some of these to print a higher low and then a higher high and get that trap setup going. A lot of these, in fact, are really looking quite the same. But just nothing's really moving right now. Even Binance Coin is showing the potential for higher low, but it's got to print a higher high above 33 for this thing to get anywhere. So guys, that's all for today. And we'll watch this weekend. A lot of times we do get some of the bigger moves over the weekend where we don't have to worry about the CME contracts or anything like that. The market can go play. And we do have maybe thinner markets, and it does tend to get pushed around a little bit more. So we'll see whether or not we get something like that to occur this weekend. And I will catch you not only in tomorrow's trade school, but also in Sunday's report, and then we'll catch up on that. Thanks for listening. We'll see you then.